Hi gang, Rob here. It is 26 March 2013 and I thought I would sit down and sharpen my Gale Bradley on the Edgepro. I've got my table position set and I'm going to take a couple strokes with my 220 stone to see how my angle looks. I had reprofiled this knife by hand and I've done a lot of cutting with it, did a lot of cardboard today, and it was dull to the point it was time. Frankly, I did that on purpose with this knife because I kind of wanted to see if I could do better with the Edgepro than I had done by hand. I'm thinking I will be able to. I've got this machine set at 15 degrees and it looks like my hand reprofile wasn't very consistent in angle. So this might take just a bit. What I'm going to do is on the 220 stone I'm going to set a 15-degree primary bevel. I'm going to take a few more strokes and level out some problems back here by the hilt. And what I might do is just get you started to kind of see what I'm doing and then come back after I switch stones. But what I'm doing is getting rid of my own reprofile. I'm going to set a very consistent primary bevel, and I'll come back with you as I go up through the stones. If you notice, as I get to the tip, I am not letting the stone slide off the tip. I'm stopping it with an inward pressure before I get there. Looks like my stone loosened up just a tick. Trying to use quite a bit of water, not letting my stone go dry. It seems to cut better if it's wet, if I'm not giving the steel a chance to embed itself into the grit of the stone. Okay guys, I'll be back with the 400 grit. Okay gang, we've switched to the 400 grit stone, and just to give you an idea what I had to do and why I was away from the camera so long, which doesn't seem like a long time to you because you weren't here, but I had some issues in this blade. One down here by the hilt, it almost looked like a recurve from the way it was ground from the factory and me trying to reprofile it. I've straightened it out about as much as I can. And then I had some issues at the tip. My freehand reprofile ended up being way too acute of an angle. I tend to do that. It was probably down around 12 degrees. I've got it back where it needs to be for strength at about 15. And I'm switching now to the 400 grit stone. I'm going to get some water on it and go to work. Now really, I did all the heavy work mostly off camera because it's not that interesting to look at. Working on specific areas of the blade with kind of a sawing motion until I could get it evened out, and then started making long, smooth strokes. And then when I go to the 400 and the 1000 grit stones, it's pretty much going to be all long, smooth strokes. Trying to use the whole stone, putting most of my pressure on in the downstrokes and kind of picking it up as I pull back. Again, being very, very careful when I get out to that tip, not to roll off. I want a nice pointy tip. I'm going to take a couple saw strokes down here at the hilt. I can see by the nature of the scratches that I'm kind of missing back there. That's pretty normal, by the way. Hard to get into that corner where that plunge grind is. Not super important to count your strokes on the 400 and 1000 grit stones. What we're mostly looking for is removal of the scratches from the prior grit. What we're looking for as we progress through the stones is a uniform scratch pattern. As you can see, although I'm concentrating on long, smooth, full-length strokes, I'm probably, as I go, paying some attention to that hilt area and the tip. Let's see where we're at. Gonna wet my stone again. Gonna do kind of one more set of passes on each side. And I'm not using a great deal of pressure here, guys. A little bit, but I'm not bearing down. You kind of have to feel that pressure. You have to press hard enough to make your stone cut, but not so hard that you're really deflecting the blade and loading up the stone. Okay, going back to the other side. What I'm going to do is make another set of passes, sort of at full pressure. And then I'm going to do a series of decreasing passes with very light pressure. What I want to do is just remove any burr that's there. Because when I go to the 1000 grit, I don't want it to have to deal with a burr. What I'm going to do with this, these last two sets is really go light, almost just gravity. And that'll do it for 400. Now we're going to the 1000 grit stone. We'll dry him off. I'm doing sort of a hybrid Edgepro factory video and Smoke Eater 908 water system tonight. I'm soaking my stones just to lift off, try to lift off any embedded steel from my last knife, and but not using an excessive amount of water when I'm sharpening. Okay, now let's go to the 1000. Same program as the 400. Cleaning up my hilt area and my tip area, and controlled positioning, and then long smooth strokes. Just rolled it a little bit there. With the 1000 grit stone though, it shouldn't do that much damage to the edge. The reason for the long smooth strokes following those sawing motion strokes is that we want to leave the edge as straight and consistent as possible. You know, we don't want it to be going in 3 different directions down the length of the blade. What we want is that cutting edge to be one smooth ribbon of sharp, not going this way and that way and that way. So that's why we're always finishing with those long smooth strokes. Should be starting to look pretty good. And it is. Gonna have a little more work to do down by the hilt though, I can see that. Can you hear how, as I go up into the finer grits, you hear a lot less friction going across the blade? I guess that's not rocket science, is it? Okay guys, I'm going to finish the 1000 and then we're going to go to the 3000 grit tape. Be back in a minute.